My family still loves my ex. It's making me crazy.
You have to choose.
For background, my ex, now male 25, and I, female 23, started dating at the end of my junior year in 2018 up until the end of 2022. So for about 4.5 years. The first year we were long distance because we obviously still lived with our parents, but he lived close to Chicago and I was about 3.5 hours away, closer to the Mississippi River. By the way, this comes from some internet chick 05, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So in 2019, after I graduated, he had bought a house 20 minutes away from my hometown, so we moved in together. His parents and I got along pretty well. They were always kind to me and even helped us renovate our kitchen. About a year into living together, I couldn't sleep, so I wrote a cute love note in his notes app that he could find later on, as I did every now and then. After I was done, I noticed that he had the Reddit app and decided to scroll through that because I always saw random Reddit posts that I thought were funny and wanted to see how easy it was to use. He had gotten a notification about a message on the app, so I checked it for him. Yes, we had each other's passwords and we trusted each other, so I didn't think anything of it. That's when I discovered that he had been talking to another woman and flirting with them. I only got to 2 different message threads. There were more, but I couldn't look at them before I broke down crying and woke him up to confront him. He started crying and told me that it never happened again. I believed him and stayed. The next year went by fine until we started to renovate the 2 upstairs bedrooms and the staircase. His mom kept trying to tell us what we should do with it, and I kept telling her that we'll figure it out as we go. My family has a lot of contractors, so while I'm not a genius in renovations, I know more than what a typical 20-year-old at the time would know. One day when they were staying with us, something flipped in her. I can't think of anything I did to provoke her outbreak besides telling her that we weren't going to paint the closets, and I can't even really remember what all she said because I just couldn't believe how quickly her attitude towards me had changed. We argued back and forth about nothing really. She just finally aired out all of the problems she had with me that were previously unknown to me. She called me rude, disrespectful, and to end it all, she told me to F off. Now, I will admit I wasn't the nicest to her within the argument, but I had treated her like my own mother during my relationship to her son. After the stupidest argument of my life, I was sent into the biggest panic/anxiety attack I've ever had. I was crying uncontrollably, hyperventilating, and shaking. My ex had sat with me for maybe 5 minutes, then ran off to go comfort his mom. Eventually, he came back and told me to call my mom and have her take me to her house instead of standing up for me to his mom and asking her to leave. His bright idea was to take me out of my safe space, my home, and let his mom stay there instead. I was at my mom's for a couple of hours until he came to pick me up and take me home because she had finally left. That was the moment that I lost all respect for him and realized that he would never stand up for me in any situation. After that, his parents pretty much disowned him just because he was still with me.
Whoa.
What? The next year and a half was rough. We turned into roommates that slept together. During that last year, I took a nice long look back at our relationship and slowly realized I wasn't happy. We never went on date nights. He never wanted to go do anything. And whenever we did do something, I felt like he wasn't really present in the moments. He was just doing it so that I would shut up about it. Throughout our relationship, he had the same after work routine. He'd come home, take the dog out to pee, or leave him in the dog run for a little bit, and then run for a little bit, shower, and then plays video games until it was bedtime. His headphones would be on, and he'd be in his own world for at least 5 to 6 hours playing games. I'd make supper 90% of the time, unless I wanted something on the grill. Only then would he cook. I even ended up doing my own social experiment with him because I realized I was the one initiating all physical contact except for spicy sleep. For 3 days, I didn't kiss him first, I didn't hug him first, and I didn't say I love you first. In those 3 excruciating long days, we hugged once, which was initiated by me, and only said I love you once, also initiated by me. He told me from the get-go that he wasn't a touchy-feely person, but that is one of my biggest love languages. I had to beg him pretty much to cuddle on the couch or come to bed to cuddle me to sleep. When it comes to opening up to people, I'm not the best at it and get emotional very quickly. So instead of sitting down and talking to him about it, I wrote him 3 different letters, 3 different times. I explained what he was doing and how it made me feel and how he could make it better. I had even asked him if there's things that I needed to work on, and he would always say that he couldn't think of anything. All 3 letters went in one ear and out the other. Nothing would change. After the second letter, I threatened to leave and move back in with my mom, but he said that he'd change, and he did for maybe a week or 2. In October of 2022, he proposed to me, in front of my family and the photographer that was taking our family pictures, which I was later told was just a ploy for engagement pictures. I said yes because I thought maybe he's finally got it. While trying to plan the wedding, I had asked for his input on literally anything, and I'd always be met with, yeah, sure, it's whatever you want. I felt like he didn't care about our special day and wasn't taking it seriously. I felt like this was just a shut up ring, so I'd stop dropping hints and he wouldn't have to hear about it anymore. Finally, I got tired of my letters not being taken seriously and feeling like his mother/roommate. So I moved back in with my mom in November of 2022. I will admit, how we broke up is kind of effed up. I had tried to break up with him 3 different times, and each time he'd convinced me to stay and think about it. I did because it hurt me to see him hurt. While I still lived with him, there was a guy at my work who was leaving me not so subtle hints that he wanted me. At this point, I had given him the ring back, even though it was my mom's engagement ring. And yes, my parents are divorced, so she hadn't worn it in 10 plus years. And I told him I was done with the relationship, but I still lived with it. So at this time, I slept with my coworker. So in my ex's head, I cheated, but I'm still on the fence about it because I can see how it would look to him since I still lived with him. Pretty crappy, I know, and I've beat myself up about it for so long. I do wish I waited until I was moved out to start seeing my coworker, so there was no doubt in his mind that I was done and wouldn't have hurt him so bad. The 6 months after our breakup were pretty lonely for me. Going to sleep on an air mattress in my sister's old room because my mom turned my old room into my niece's toy room. Sleeping by myself after 3 years of having someone else in bed with me. The hookups I went to just to feel wanted by someone, even if it was just for an hour. Thankfully, I decided I was tired of the hookups and wanted something more serious and found my current boyfriend on Bumble. He's such a sweet, caring, lovable goofball that doesn't mind my ADHD/autism quirks and actually enjoys being around me. We clicked instantly and he said, I love you after 2 weeks.
That is, wow.
Now, the reoccurring issue I have is my family on my mom's side. They still love my ex. He's still in all family group chats, Facebook groups, and is still invited to all the family get-togethers. It makes me and my boyfriend so uncomfortable and awkward. My siblings and their significant others all agree with me that he shouldn't still be hanging around almost a year and a half later. My mom had told me the first time I came to her crying about me wanting to leave him, but not knowing what to do, he'll always be my son. And she has stayed true to that and even threw him a birthday party the same time as my brothers because their birthdays are close together at my grandparents' house. She still calls him Uncle X's name when talking about him with my nieces. Oh my gosh.
No.
That sucks.
No, he's
That
gone,
really sucks.
girl. Get over him.
Yeah, you gotta be, that's disrespectful to your,
So disrespectful.
your child.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's
man.
actively dating someone new.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Like, disrespectful to the new boyfriend, too. My brother finally got fed up with another family situation and brought up the situation with my ex still coming around. My mom had told him if my granny, who had passed away long before I was even born, would roll over in her grave if she knew that I punted him out when his family disowned him because of OP. Of course, everything is always my fault, even though I didn't do anything but tell his mom that we weren't going to paint the closets. She said that he is her son, even though he's my ex. But if my grandma had done the same thing with both of my uncle's ex-wives, he'd throw the biggest hissy fit you'd ever see a grown man throw. Or even if she did it with my dad. I just don't understand why it's only my ex that gets to keep getting the family treatment. Unfortunately, after we broke up, my ex and my uncle became best friends and will also stand up for him no matter what.
Oh my goodness.
My best friend that I have had since 5th grade got sick of him coming around and lost it when I told her that he had brought his new girlfriend to my grandpa's birthday party. She is in the same boat as me with not knowing why they've kept him around. She texted him a long rant and aired out everything that she had wanted to say since we broke up. Nothing that she said was particularly nasty, mainly just pointing out that it's weird how he's still hanging around and how crappy it is to bring your new girlfriend to your ex's grandpa's party. The kicker is that he couldn't even stand up for himself. He was either with my uncle or screenshotted the text and sent it to him to read, and my uncle came to his defense. I will add that he, my ex, hadn't had her number saved since he had blocked her on all social media around the time of the first letter I gave him because he thought that she was behind a lot of why I wanted to leave, which is not true at all. Sooner or later, he or my uncle told my mom about it, so she sent out a message in a newly created group chat with me, my siblings, and their lovers about she didn't know his new girl was going to be there. As far as everyone is concerned, he's just as much a part of the family as anyone else, and whoever is texting him the long rant can stop. I haven't yet, but I know I need to sit my mom down and explain exactly exactly how I feel about this whole situation. I had written and printed out a letter for her explaining that I was just going to be done with that side of the family since they wanted to keep him around so bad. And after my sister's wedding, I would no longer be a part of the family. But my boyfriend asked me if he could give me his thoughts and opinions on the letter. Of course, I said yes, because while it mainly affects me, it does still affect him in a small way. He basically told me I need to sit down with my mom and give her the ultimatum of me or him before I just leave, because in a few years, if I didn't do everything that I could to try and change her mind or see it from my point of view, I might regret it. But if I at least try to talk to her and it boils down to me stepping away from the family, I'll know I've done everything that I could before turning to my nuclear option. I agreed with him because I had had a similar thought after rereading my letter. I told my siblings about the letter and let them read it. They all agreed that it's well written, and while they don't want to see it happen, they don't want me to be miserable and uncomfortable at all of the future family functions. My sister and her future wife didn't invite my ex to their wedding out of respect for me, since I don't think that they'd want one of the maids of honor to be uncomfortable during their wedding. They just want love and good vibes all day. My brother feels like he's being replaced by my ex since he and my mom do more together than my mom and my brother. My boyfriend feels like my family hasn't even given him a chance since my ex is still around, and no one really talks to either of us at family gatherings. As of me writing this, we've been together for almost a year now. My mom even makes a family calendar every year for everyone for Christmas and left out my boyfriend's birthday, but still kept my ex's and still adds his pictures. She even put him on her 2023 Christmas cards. I'm honestly terrified to talk to her about everything because she has shown me time and time again that she wants him there with no end in sight, and I'm scared that if I give her the ultimatum, she'll choose my ex. Maybe not by directly saying I choose him, but more of like a I can't do that to him. And I know that she won't because she is stubborn. And I would have no choice but to choose my own mental health and well-being and have to leave the biggest support system I have because they care more about my ex than me and my feelings. I'm at a standstill right now with talking to my mom because I'm just so nervous, and I know I'm either going to get frustrated and furious with her, or I'm just going to break down and cry my eyes out while trying to have a discussion with her. By the way, you don't have to break down or cry because we have more full episodes of stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. This has been going on for almost 2 years, and if I don't talk to her soon, I'm going to go crazy. Thankfully, my boyfriend and I live about an hour away from our hometown, so I don't have to worry about randomly running into my ex. I'm not necessarily looking for sympathy because I know I effed up too. I just want to feel heard and maybe given some advice on how to better approach my mom when I finally grow a pair, bite the bullet, and talk to her. I don't know if it would be better to do it one-on-one or have my siblings there with me just for support and maybe add their feelings about the whole situation. I don't want my mom to think that we are attacking her, but seeing how this has affected my brother, I think he also needs to be heard because his thoughts and feelings are just as important. Yeah, I feel like having the siblings there would be good because then you're not alone, and hopefully they can, counter something that your mom says that you might not have words for in the moment.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, you just want like someone who like knows your mom, is supportive of you.
Yeah, and especially like she said, the brother is clearly having problems with it too. Yeah. So like, other people, need this discussion. Yeah. But hopefully they can go about it in like a calm way that doesn't just blow up in a family fight.
My brother and his girlfriend made me feel unwelcome, so I returned the favor.
Ooh, sweet, sweet revenge.
For context, my brother and I have never had an argument before in our life and have always been close and got on until I offered his girlfriend work. Him and his girlfriend had just got a mortgage, and his girlfriend decided to quit her job without another job to go to. My brother confided in me that this has left them struggling financially. I'm a wedding photographer, so I offered to train his girlfriend to become a second shooter for me to help her earn some money. By the way, this comes from Economy Speed 9064, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I paid her for the full second rating at the time, which was £250 per day plus expenses, despite her being completely new to it. I also gave her a few lessons in how to use one of my cameras and let her keep it and one of my lenses, which she used on the wedding. But she was often rude to me over text and showed little to no gratitude. If I didn't respond within the hour to her texts, she'd send loads of question marks, question mark. Yet she'd often take days to reply to me. When I tried to raise this with her, she told my brother I was being horrible to her, and he called me up saying he doesn't see the problem with it. I let it go. Then I was diagnosed with melanoma and needed surgery on my leg. which meant I couldn't walk or work for about 2 months. It put a huge strain on me financially, as I then had to pay other experienced photographers to cover my weddings and pay them an associate fee. I had to get quite a few weddings covered, which meant I had to use all my savings and any money I had in my current account, even though I was never late with any payments to my brother's girlfriend. I explained to her that I couldn't pay her immediately because of everything going on, and I said I would pay her in 10 days when I was next due to be paid. I owe her for 2 weddings pay £500. She responded really harshly and showed no understanding at all, saying, "I need that money now. That's not my problem and I have bills to pay." Not long after, my brother called me and told me I needed to send her as much money as possible now and then pay the rest in 10 days, even to the point of emptying my bank account because he thought it was unfair she wasn't being paid. It was incredibly hurtful. I've done everything I could to help them when they were struggling, but the moment I needed a little grace, they gave me none. My parents were disappointed too. They expected them both to be kind and understanding, especially given the fact I was dealing with a serious health issue that I couldn't plan for. At least your parents are on your side.
Yeah, that's good.
Despite how upset I was, I didn't want a big fallout, so I tried my best to move past it. After this, his girlfriend wanted to start her own wedding photography business, which I was in full support of. We had shot around 40 weddings together, and out of those, I had only shared around 10 of those on my website and Instagram. Because she had only ever worked on my weddings and didn't have any other seconding work to use or any styled shoots, she had begun to make her work look different to mine. I was quite worried that if she shared lots from those 10 weddings I had shared, that our pages would look too similar. So I politely requested that she only share groom prep decor shots from those 10 weddings, not any of the couples portraits that I always pose/set up, and that instead she shared couple shots from the 30 weddings I hadn't shared so that her page looked different. She got back to me and said it was so unfair of me to restrict her like this, and that I was clearly not being very supportive of her new business venture. She then told my brother, and he called me an a-hole down the phone, screaming at me, saying I was being unfair and that I had let another photographer share from a wedding they shot with me. Yes, I did, but that was because they were an established photographer who had only shot with me a couple of times, and even if they did share from a wedding I had posted, their page would never look too close to mine, as they had a strong portfolio of their own work that had no relation to mine. Again, I let it go as I didn't want to fall out with them, but I just said I had worked really hard to build my business over 10 years and I didn't want it to be devalued. What hurt me the most was my brother calling me an a-hole after he had asked me if he could shadow me on weddings and learn videography, which I let him join me on a few to build up his portfolio. I recommended him out to all of my couples and anyone who inquired with me to help kickstart his business. I also put him in touch with a video friend of mine so he could ask him any questions he had. On top of this, I also bought him a videography course worth £550, but I got it for £150 to help him learn even quicker. So when I had gone above and beyond for him, it really hurt me when he called me up to shout about me. Also, I had been asking his girlfriend for invoices for 10 months. I had always paid her straight away without an invoice, but it was on the understanding that she would send me an invoice before my tax had to be calculated. I sent her a template of an invoice so it would be simple for her to produce and email across. I asked her 10 months for the invoices over a period of 10 months. Each text read like, "Hi, hope you're good. Just checking in to see if you can send me those invoices when you get the chance. Thanks." It now got to 3 weeks before I needed these invoices. So I text her again saying, "Hi, hope you're well. It's 3 weeks until my tax return is due, so I really need the invoices, please. Thank you." She had just announced to us she was pregnant a couple of weeks prior to me sending this text, and she then got back to me and said, "You're stressing me out. You've left it late and now making me stress when you know I'm pregnant." That's when I checked how many times I had messaged her prior to this time, and it dates back to 10 months. I've been asking politely around 10 times, so I hadn't left it last minute at all. I got back to her and explained this. Then I got another harmful phone call from my brother screaming at me saying, "You're stressing out a pregnant woman." This guy sucks.
What about OP's stress from not getting paid?
And also melanoma.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm not trying to. I admit I shouldn't have even paid her a penny without these invoices, but let me say I've learned my lesson on that one." In the end, she got my brother to do the invoices as she didn't want to do them. This caused a row between my brother and I, but I didn't want us to fall out as I wanted to be a part of their baby's life. I offered them a free maternity shoot as I would anyone in my family/best friends. I also paid a photographer friend of mine to photograph their baby shower, which she moaned the photographer didn't get enough shots of her family. I then also went around to take some photos of their baby when the baby arrived and did a newborn shoot, which they said I wasn't allowed to share. Fair enough. But when I sent them over to my brother, he didn't even get back to me and say thank you or mention if he liked them. Then they shared them on socials and never even credited me or mentioned I took the photos. I kept asking to go around to see their baby, but other than the time I took photos of the baby, they kept fobbing me off or making out they didn't have time. My brother and his girlfriend never showed any interest in talking to me unless they wanted something. Then I had another melanoma scare and had to have more surgeries. Oof. Not once did my brother or her message me to check on me or see if I was okay. And I know my mom told them about it. Eventually, it really started upsetting me. And so I reached out to my brother to say I felt hurt, that I felt pushed away, and that I felt like he didn't care. He just got defensive and blamed me, saying, well, do you blame me for distancing myself from you when you're stressing out my girlfriend while she's pregnant? Talking about the invoices. He said he didn't like me anymore. I said I felt hurt that he didn't thank me and that he didn't message me unless he wanted something, and it just turned into a heated argument. I was upset, and I said to him that she was the problem, as me and my brother had always been close and had never once argued before I offered her to work with me. This just caused him to say I was horrible for blaming his girlfriend and said she's done nothing wrong. I said she definitely has, and that he can do better than the way she's treated his family, as my mom and grandma both said she's very ungrateful and never says thank you for gifts. Me and my brother stopped talking after this for a few months. Then I got engaged and my mom got quite sad that we weren't on speaking terms, and she wanted him to come to my wedding. So even though he had hurt me, I reached out to him and said I really want to make up and for them to come to my wedding. I made a big effort and asked him to be a part of my bridal party and his child. However, when his child turned 1, he had planned their party and I couldn't come to their party as I had a wedding that day, which they knew about before they planned the party. I checked, and due to other weddings and shoots and traveling, the only day I was available to drop off the birthday gift was their child's actual birthday. My mom said just come with us and drop it off, but I texted and asked if I could pop around on their actual birthday, as that's the only day I'm free that week. And I said I would just quickly visit when mom visits for 15 minutes and then go again, popping over with my son, his nephew. He got back to me and said no, he doesn't want me there, only parents, as if me and my son going to it would turn it into a gathering, and that's what the party was for. He never said thanks once for wanting to drop a gift off, just made me feel very unwanted. I told my mom as she was expecting me to join her. She said she wasn't very happy about it as it seemed very rigid and inflexible of them. My mom said it was not very nice of them when I'm making such an effort for them. My husband-to-be said it's not nice that they won't even let you drop off a gift when we're spending 1,000 pounds on them coming to our wedding. We were paying for his suit, the child's outfit, and for the food, drinks, and accommodation. When my mom confronted him, he said, do not invite people around our house without asking me. So he's even upset my mom. Then he came back to me and said, why are you getting mom involved? And I said, I didn't ask her to message you. She said she wanted to speak to you. And I only told her an update that you didn't want me there. He said I was clearly not respecting his boundaries, that he didn't want me there. Then I decided to tell him that it has hurt me and made me feel pushed away. And he said, well, we're not close, so why would I want you there? Then I said, okay, I don't think you deserve to come to my wedding after everything. And I disinvited him and blocked him with this message. If you don't want your own sister and nephew there on your son's birthday, when we can't come to the party and can't do any other days that week, then I don't want you there at my wedding. You will obviously understand, as the feeling is clearly mutual. I'm not speaking to you again. And I've not spoken to him since. By the way, you can listen to us speak if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime to hear full episodes of stories just like this. My mom fully understands, and she said he's caused this rift and that she totally gets why I don't want them there on my special day, which, by the way, is very intimate, only 20-day guests.
Oh, wow.
My nan fully supports me, and all of my closest friends do as well, but my dad, who is always been problematic in the past, put us both in a WhatsApp group and said, sort it out. And I felt like it was more so me who wanted to sort it out. I said, I've tried to sort it before when I've been hurt, but I am still treated badly, so I can't do it anymore. Then my dad removed me from the group.
What?
Am I the a-hole?
No. You have tried. You've put so much effort in, and it's not only not being reciprocated, but it's the exact opposite is happening. He's trying to like worsen the relationship in a way.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story and the end of this episode.